All right, y'all, welcome back to the channel. I'm Texas Dad, and this is Matt.
Hello. I'm genetically related to him.
He is...
Sadly,
genetically related. Easy for you to say.
I know, yeah. Genetically.
Easy for you to say. Genetically related. I chose today's video from a gentleman I watch over there on the Rokfin. His name's Tristan Haggard. He and his family expatriated to the Andes somewhere, and they live a natural life and they grow their own food. And he says lots of really high quality, interesting stuff, and he brings the hard hitting facts and he drops the truth bombs in succession. Tristan drops truth bombs like Republicans dropping democracy on the Middle East, y'all. Non-stop, 24/7. So
what's the video about?
So the video is about some substances found in the government school food supply.
No way. They would never do that.
And let's just say it wasn't good, all right? And it's very shocking.
Bummer.
Because it's for the children.
It wasn't bugs?
You know,
organically raised bugs?
Not yet. It's not
okay.
organically raised bugs. And even when they do raise the bugs, they won't be organically raised.
Come on.
They will be chemically raised in a chemical soup. Government schools are the demise of America. Folks were lamenting property tax here in the great state of Texas. And I was explaining to them that the large proponent of our property tax here in America goes to these school bonds, right? And every Texan will vote for their school bond because it's for the kids. It's for the kids. Do it for the kids. And then the next thing you know, you turn around, your property tax is $8,000 a year.
Well, and the other thing too is that's so silly, is that we're homeschooled and we still have to pay for these stupid bonds. Okay, you send your kids off there, cool, they want this big, stupid, fancy stadium, awesome. You pay for it in your taxes and have it cut out of our taxes. Like we shouldn't have to pay for that stupid stuff. If we don't use it, like we don't use it at all. We like look at it when we drive past it and have to slow down for the stupid school zones that no kids are ever at. But other than that, I mean, we don't participate.
Deep words. All right, so let's save our rant till after the video.
After the video. Or at least when the video starts.
He is genetically related to me, y'all, so there you go. There's that.
This group, Moms Across America, published the findings of a little study they did. They took samples from over 40 school lunches in the United States, and they found that over 95% of them contained glyphosate. Right, now, this is no surprise to anybody. There have been many studies done of the glyphosate levels in various foods, the glyphosate levels in soils, even soils that have not been sprayed with this herbicide. Test positive for glyphosate. That's because this stuff is basically ubiquitous. There are billions of pounds of Roundup used in agriculture at a small and large scale all over the world. Right? And it's crazy, but 95% of the food tested in this little study they did in school lunches contained high levels of glyphosate. A huge percentage of them also contained other pesticides. They also found high levels of heavy metal. And something, I think it was like over 90% of the samples tested. So this is the stuff that we're giving to our children. This is the stuff we're giving to our children. This is school lunches.
You know what's ironic about the school lunches is the other things that they're socially forcing our children to eat in the government propaganda camp. So not only do they pollute their mind by forcing them to eat dogmas, copious amounts of propaganda, wokeism, et al., but they are literally poisoning their body.
Poisoning and sterilizing.
And this study, it made me think. Right? There was this meme floating around comparing the public school system to the prison system. Right, and it's a very valid comparison. I mean, you look at the transport methods the buses use, the public school system, the prison system is exactly the same. You look at the food given to people in the prison system, the public school system, basically the same, except prison food is actually a little bit better nutritionally, and they get more meat than the children are given in public schools. Right. The public schools are basically just pre-prison now anyways, right? We send our kids to these public schools and they're getting taught essentially the most dumb.
Government schools are designed like prisons, but unfortunately, they're not as secure as prisons, because if they were actually secure and run by competent people, there wouldn't be school shootings and different things like that. But they're very much designed as I work in commercial construction, and so I look at school buildings and prisons and all that stuff, and they are designed exactly the same.
Yeah.
And they are improperly maintained exactly the same. The prisons are not properly maintained. The schools are not properly maintained. And they go out and they get these multi-million-dollar bonds to skyrocket the property tax. They build this gigantic, goofy, ugly-looking building, and then they improperly maintain it from day one, and it falls apart and leaks and is pretty much terrible for 30 years.
They're being given the most dumbed down education you could possibly imagine, taught all sorts of insane contradictory doctrines as dogma, and are basically put on a pipeline to complete mutilation of themselves biologically, hormonally, and ideologically and mentally. I mean, the school system, as you could tell, I'm not a huge fan of the public school system. But it's insane what has happened to our food supply, how terrible the quality of food we eat is. Today, we went to bring a pig, this pig of ours, this little sow. We went to bring her to get impregnated. She's in heat. We don't have a male, so we went, put her with this hog. He did his thing, and it's so crazy just seeing that the level of input of soy, GMO feed, of hormones in the feed, and of antibiotics in the feed, right? So everybody here, we live in the Andes in South America, right? Everybody here, when they're raising pigs, they give their animals what's called balanceado. Balanceado is basically pig kibble. Now, it's based on like soy cake. I'll put an image of the ingredients here. The final ingredient listed on this is antibiotics, right? So they put high levels of antibiotics in the feed here. I don't know what the legalities are of it in the U.S. right now, but it's a little bit tighter controlled there. But here they put tons of antibiotic in the feed for pork. And when you look at the difference between a 5-month-old litter of piglets, right? You look at the difference between 5-month-old pigs here and the ones that are fed the balanceado with the hormones, which they call growth factors, and with the antibiotics in the feed, it is completely different. The level of development that we get when we feed organic feed, we feed organic grain and restaurant scraps. So what I'm getting at here is the food system, the food supply is completely insanely messed up. I mean, the levels of hormones that these animals are given in many places, the world, the U.S., believe it or not, is actually better off than a lot of places in the world. And that's all going into our children. That's all going into our bodies. That's affecting our fertility, right? Fertility rates are declining dramatically across the board throughout the Western world. And a lot of this is voluntary, right? We're looking at voluntary sterilization influenced by social engineering. We have a weaponized pop culture that infantilizes us as adults. McDonald's marketing Happy Meals with toys for adults, right? So you can get your Lizzo scented Funko Pops in your adult Happy Meal from Ronald McDonald. And of course, that's going to be glyphosate fortified, right? Because this vertically integrated system is all based on the industrial model that requires heavy chemical inputs, heavy herbicide, pesticide, fungicide use, and heavy fertilizer use. All right, that fertilizer that creates a bottleneck in the food system. You choke off the fertilizer supply and you can easily decrease the food supply in any given country, which is what we've been seeing over the last few years. So what I'm getting at here is we need to be moving towards supporting locally produced foods that don't require heavy fertilizer inputs, that don't require heavy chemical inputs, foods that actually regenerate soil.
So we keep introducing you to different people from all over the world, and they're all saying the same thing. And what
Sadly.
we've learned in the past 2 years since we've been fully immersed into 1984 is that our supply chain must be shortened, because the social engineers and the social planners and the civil planners and the on-time supply chain distribution, they can't solve the problem, partially by design, but partially by coincidence. And so it is up to us to solve the problem. And what we've decided to do is we've decided to grow chickens.
Yeah.
We've decided to grow ducks. We've decided to grow cows. And that infrastructure is either here or at our other property, and it's within close distance, and we can process them. We know what they eat. We know what we feed them. And so if we know what they eat, we know what we eat, because you aren't what you eat, you are what your food eats. And that's basically what Tristan's breaking down for us right now. And he says it in a very eloquent way, injecting many levels of facts in there.
All right, this is why with our pigs, we put them out on pasture. All right, this whole thing about pastured pigs, like some people, I see a lot of comments online, people talking about like grass-fed pigs. I mean, this is coming from people who mean well, right? They know that grass-fed beef is fed only grass. And they're thinking, okay, pastured pigs, they must be eating grass. There is no such thing as a pig that eats grass. Pigs require grain input. They require a lot of feed. They're monogastrics. They do not have a rumen. So they don't have a rumen that they convert indigestible fiber like cows, like these animals behind us. They will convert indigestible fiber and cellulose into digestible protein, fat, and carbohydrates for us. Pigs can't just eat grass. Right. But getting them out on pasture, right? Giving them a varied diet that's not based on, heavy antibiotics that help the animals to grow and fatten up quicker. And we can be supporting local producers, and that will make it to where we are not being squeezed by food shortages that we are very likely to see in the next 6 to 12 months. Right, so there's a lot that we can do to improve our nutrition, to improve the nutrition of our children, to improve the health of our soil. Right? And that includes integrated animals on the farms. So we got, I don't know, you probably see this, chickens back there. This is our little central corral where we milk. Right? We use mobile electric fencing and rotate throughout paddocks, making small paddocks for our ruminants. And that helps to regenerate the soil, deposit more carbon into the soil, beneficial bacteria into the soil, so that you can produce more food on less land. I am standing on tons of, look at this, see all that? That's free fertilizer right there. That's free. It just gets made. It gets brought down here. The animals come down here, we milk them, they make fertilizer. We cut grass, we bring it in here. Especially on the first days, especially on those first days when the animal has calved. They want to be close to the calf. We cut a lot of grass, we bring it in here. A lot of that ends up in the ground, gets mixed with the droppings, and makes fertilizer. The pigs come through. The pigs and the chickens come through, scratch through that. Pigs will even eat quite a bit of the sheep droppings and even some of the cow droppings. And they dig through it, and they help to toss it and create a very nutrient-rich fertilizer that we can use to grow more grass, to create more meat and milk. All right, so we need to be supporting local farmers. Some people might want to become interested in and start learning about doing some of this stuff themselves.
We get asked a lot of times about, we introduce y'all to Larry, and we process our own meat, and we do sell some meat, and people ask us all the time, we want to buy your meat, where do we go? I highly encourage you to check out the beefinitiative.com. A fella by the name of Texas Slim has started the Beef Initiative, and you can get like a beef box. It's very much like Butcher Box. You can get a subscription-based meat plan where they will drop ship it right to your house, and it's all regenerative farms that are potentially local to you. They're building a large network through the beefinitiative.com. We'll put the link below. We're going to put the link below to this video in its entirety so you can watch it uninterrupted. And then we're also going to put a link below to Texas Slim's Beef Initiative.
Right now, you're not just going to be able to jump right into producing a significant amount of your own food. When you're looking at starting kind of like a homesteading situation, a lot of these people trying to market you this online want you to believe that they're just, they're just rocking it, that all they're doing is just growing food. It's such little input. No, it takes a lot of work. It takes a significant amount of work. And most of these people that are homesteading and trying to sell you on this idea of like, the rockin' trad homesteaders, a lot of them, it's basically hobby farming, right? And it's a money pit for a lot of them, right? But with very little input, once you know what you're doing, you can get out a significant amount of food. Just starting slow, jumping into it, having some chickens, not that difficult. Getting some ducks, not that difficult. Even some sheep. Or maybe some cows, depending on the land you have, depending on what your intention is, what types of food you want to produce. Don't be afraid to start producing it yourself, and at least support local producers that you can get it from. Right? Because a lot of these chemicals that we are seeing in the food, in the water, create disruptions in our endocrine system. They disrupt hormone production. We are seeing abysmally low testosterone in men. But what we can do is fix our diet and our lifestyle. Getting outside in the natural sunlight. Right, getting outside in the sun, breathing fresh air, turning off the artificial light at night, getting natural light during the day. These basic steps that we can take, these basic things that we can do to improve our circadian rhythm will improve our hormone production. Right? Diet plays a huge part in that as well. Guess what the backbone of sex steroid hormones is? Right? The backbone of sex steroid hormones, what testosterone is made out of, what progesterone is made out of, it's cholesterol. That's also what vitamin D is made from. Sulfated cholesterol in the skin. Whoa, calm down. She's a little bit protective of her calf right now. That's sulfated cholesterol in the skin. When the sun touches your skin, you will make vitamin D from that sulfated cholesterol. So we got to support our health, support the health of our communities, support the health of our children, by getting our diet in line. Also, proper supplementation could be useful as well.
It's not ironic. It makes total sense when you think about our government school systems and the curriculum and what they're willing to feed the minds of the next generation, and the propaganda and the manipulation. It only actually makes sense that they're actually feeding them poison foods. They're feeding them off of some food pyramid that was created by the green industry and then co-opted over and over again by different administrations to, I just can't wait for bugs to be on the food pyramid. And, on myplate.gov, you need a 1/4 cup of black soldier fly larvae. It is coming. And if you want to say that I predicted that, I give it 3 years before there are crickets on the myplate.gov, and hopefully it takes that long.
I hope so.
But we'll see. But that wraps up the video. Like I said, we'll put this in the link down below. Did you have anything that you wanted to say about the government school, either education program or maybe their food program, or in general, just as a youth?
As a youth coming from it, it is ironic, and it didn't surprise me at all when you were like, guess what? They found all this Roundup stuff in their food. And I was like, well, yeah, that sounds about right. And yeah, just one more reason why you should get your kids out of the public school. It's just so silly to have them in public school. I made a video, you can go watch it up there, with Buddy, my younger brother. And we kind of touched on that subject and why we love the way we live our lives. And how we live our lives is not for everyone, but on the other hand, I think people do have to get back into reality and definitely start creating your own food, like this man is talking about, because these big global elites will take the opportunity and try to poison you and sterilize you and brainwash you all at the same exact time. And then on top of that, right in front of your face, will try to do the exact same thing to your children, while you think that they're going to these schools to become the next generation of fill in the blank, you know, thinking, oh, I'm gonna send them there, that I want them to have a good education, I want them to be set for their life journey or whatever.
We've been seeing all these different videos popping up of these different hidden videos of all these nefarious teachers doing nefarious things and school administrators doing nefarious things, and then you see the outraged parents and they were like, but I didn't know. And I mean, the solution to that is personal responsibility.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with your food. I mean, to say that you didn't know that they're poisoning our food, they've been poisoning our food, and so that's why
they've been doing all that crazy goofy stuff in schools since the beginning of time.
Yeah, I mean, the Prussian school model, John Taylor Gatto, and you know, you can read or listen to John Taylor Gatto.
Yeah.
Richard Grove did a 5-hour video with John Taylor Gatto called World's Greatest History Lesson or something like that, but it's excellent. And John goes into why the Prussian model was created to create communists, okay, for communists and socialists and worker cog bees. That's why it's so important to get your kids out of the government schools and to educate your children and to grow your own food and to take personal responsibility for your life and live your own life. And that's why we're here. We want to encourage people to do that.
Your kids will thank you once they grow up and they're like, wow, I'm so glad my mom and dad didn't let me go to public school or pulled me out when they did, you know.
Yep, so, well, that's all for today. You got anything else, Matt?
No, I think that's it. But we want to tell y'all, go subscribe to our secondary channel. I'll leave a link down in the description down below.
Let's get ready to rumble!
And go follow us over at Rumble. Please subscribe over there. We are on Odysee as well. If you want to watch our videos ad-free, if you're annoyed by having the stupid YouTube ads in this video, you can become a native for $5 a month, and you get all of our videos ad-free, and you get our family's recipes and exclusive discounts. And all the honey is restocked, native, raw honey from Texas, is on the website, ready to go out to y'all. So anyway, thank y'all so much for watching today's video. It meant a lot to us. We will see y'all later. Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye-bye.